It's time for the S&box news. This week, the S&box Devblog came out. There's not much new in it that I haven't covered already. However, there are a couple new things that we'll take a look at. Also, there are some strafe updates. The Terry's Ultimate Platformer tag map has been updated. There's a new Toon shader example, and more work on the advanced Steam audio systems. There are a couple new changes to Construct. There's some new foliage. Here we can see some bushes and shrubbery. Does it stick through the wall? No, it doesn't. And there's grass on the grass. You can see there's actually 3D grass instead of just a flat picture. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this works. I don't think there's any systems in place for this yet. I think they placed detail models, maybe using the asset sprayer. I'll have to take a look at the map and see how it's done, but I'm pretty sure these are all placed with the asset sprayer. I don't think there's any systems in place for this. If you look closely, you can see there's some noticeable lodding. Specifically over here, you can see the grass lods out and then it disappears. So there's still some work to do with the grass systems, but it's very cool to see this on Construct. It adds a lot more realism and it makes the environment a lot more immersive. We can also see there are some plants here. Very realistic, very cool. I also feel like the lighting looks a little better here. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe there's been some changes to the post-processing and color correction settings on this map, although I'm not really sure. There's also a new room over here. It looks really detailed. If you look closely, you'll notice all the advanced geometry on the walls and on this shelf cabinet thing and the table. Now, there's something really cool that wasn't immediately noticeable. All of this geometry is actually made in Hammer, the level editor, and it's all made with one hotspot material. This table is very detailed and it looks like a 3D model made in a modeling software, but with my trained eye as a Hammer user, I can recognize the hotspot materials and the grid sizes. This is just a crazy example of what you can make only using the level editor without any 3D models. This room back here is just an empty hallway. There are some new clothes, specifically this bucket helmet. Now this is like a medieval bucket helmet for the medieval soldier. It's very crazy and it almost completes the medieval Iron Soldier outfit. The only thing that's missing is shoes. Also, there's a new mannequin model. Here are some pictures of it. We can see it's got different colors and interchangeable legs. So there's either a stand or posable legs. Here's the mannequin showing off an outfit, and here's an in-depth look at its feet. Now, this is so realistic, it's fully modeled mannequin toes. Wow. Speaking of Devblog, the May Devblog came out. Now, there's not much new on here that I haven't already talked about. There's the new mannequin models. There's a timings tool. Looks like it shows off the different timings for code and other things loading. So this would be useful for really diving in deep and optimizing your game. Here we can see the new shader API that we talked about 2 weeks ago. There's also a new example shader. This is a Toon shader. So as you can see, it makes the cartoon model look even more cartoon model. Here's the light probe debug volumes and constraint entities, the sound preview. Here's strafe and server stability. So there's a new strafe map, which we'll be looking at soon. There are DSP effects. That stands for digital signal processing, I think. Basically what that means is it's filters for sound effects. For example, underwater sound effect or a flashbang sound effect. Here's the new updated inspector. There are updates to HUD drawing. So now I believe you can draw some primitive things such as crosshairs using C# code instead of having to make a CSS file. There are more updates to the Steam audio. Let's give it a listen. There's been updates to the video settings and length constraints, the light animations, which we showed off last week. There's all the new clothing that we've seen over the past month. Right-click to create assets. And there's been performance and quality improvements to VR, along with haptics. We've seen tiling on the fast texture tool, and you can now pose ragdolls in Hammer and have them actually be posed in the map. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a thing in base default source 2. However, in default source 2, there's actually a separate entity for ragdolls. And I guess when ragdolls were converted to just use the default prop entity, it removed this functionality, but now it's been restored. Here's the Hammer full screen layout and automatic materials. So if you right click a texture and click create material in the new asset browser, it will hopefully try to fill in all the different textures if they have the appropriate name. Alternatively, we could have done that by clicking this arrow here and clicking autofill. But now they've removed that extra step. That's it for the S&box Devblog. Again, most of it we've already covered in these videos, however there were a couple new things. There are a couple new updates to Strafe, including this new map. This map is called Hack-R. It's like hacker, but without the E. As a reminder, Strafe is a combination of surf and bunny hop. Let's see how far I can get on this map. So, oh, I've crashed. Oh well, I'm not the best at surf and bunny hop. This map looks really cool though. It's very interesting. Are these jump pads? So if I jump over here, oh yeah, it looks like it makes you jump a little bit higher. What is this? I think this is a checkpoint. Very cool. There's also UI updates. So if I press Q, tab, this is still all work in progress. So very cool. Somebody got 4 seconds on this map? That's not right. The map for Tag on Terry's Ultimate Platformer has been updated. Here we can see it's been transformed into a colorful cartoon world. It's hard to tell because of the post-processing, but these aren't just solid colors. There's actually some patterns on the walls. And if we go on the top, wow, the post-processing effects are really strong, but you can kind of see there's screws, like it's giant blocks. There's also updates to baking Steam Audio. So in the compile window, under Steam Audio, there's an option to bake it with your graphics card. That might make it slightly faster. It's still a work in progress. Also, the compile process in general has been optimized, so baking Steam Audio will take significantly less time. Now I want to show off a couple things that I worked on. So I made another very basic VR game. I called it VR Tourist. It doesn't have any gameplay or anything. You can just walk around and look at maps. All of the other VR games in S&box that actually had movement were broken right now, so you couldn't actually look at maps in VR. I also updated my S&box Backrooms game. There's no new gameplay features, just increased graphics. So if you look closely, you'll notice it looks a little bit better, a little more realistic and scary. As a reminder, this is a procedurally generated Backrooms demo. So you just walk around and experience the back rooms. Whoa, the red light! There's a ghost too! Wow, this is so scary. I'm gonna shiver my spine. Well, that's it. That's all the S&box news. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. Spawn the specimen in.